So I have for you today a potion auto brewer. I was looking around on other people to see how they've made theirs, and noticed that nobody had yet come up with a good auto brewer for the new snapshot, or at least the Minecraft 1.16. So I have made one that I've been toying with for a while, using a Lectern to control potion ingredients, and then some levers to control all the add-ons. I have a couple extra signs and a couple extra things because this is on a multiplayer server, and I just want to make sure the other players are aware of how it works specifically. So you can see here, you can select various potions on each page. My first page is an instruction set, and then on each page I have whatever potion it is at the top, and then what additional things you can add to it to create all various different kinds of potions. So for instance, if I wanted, say, a potion of, I don't know, let's do, here we go. Let's do a potion of night vision. So you select the page for night vision, and it says it's going to need redstone and fermented spider eye. So I'm going to come over here and turn redstone on, and I'm going to come and turn fermented spider eye on. After that, all you have to do is flip the lever from off to on, and so long as this light is on, it will continue brewing the potion you have selected until you turn it off. So I'm going to just turn it off because I only want one batch for now. Afterwards, it'll come over here and start the brewing process. You notice it's already got some nether wart started, and then it's got the ingredients up top here for the remainder of the potion. Once it finishes that, it's going to collect in this hopper and make its way down into this double check collection chest automatically. So I'll talk through the process a little bit more detail in the back of it, so you can see that in just a moment. The rest of the stuff around here is mostly just details. This is our water bottle storage. So these are the collection of water bottles that work down a series of hoppers to work into the inside of the brewing stand. The blaze powder all comes in from a single hopper off on the side here. And other than that, the whole rest of the system is completely automated. The only thing is you do have to fill up water bottles here. So I put one water block so you can continuously fill them up. There's a crafting table underneath too, in case you need to build something while you're here. It's got some warning lights to let you know if the output chests are all full. It also has a warning light to let you know if your potions are empty. The only thing this machine will not check, it does not check your blaze powder, whether that's full or not, and it does not check potion ingredients yet. I'm still working on that. So let's see if our potions have finished brewing yet. Looks like they have, and there they are. They've showed up in the bottom of our chest. So let's take a quick look and see what this looks like in the creative map that I have to look at the detail work. So this is my creative mode world that I use to test all of my redstone circuits before I build them other places. So I've got all these other circuits in the background where I've tested various things. The one we're going to deal with today, though, is the brewer, the auto brewer that I have here, that is powered by this Lectern and a couple additional switches. Now, you might notice when we were looking at the other world that I had this in, there were 5 switches. That is because fermented spider eye is something I forgot when I was toying around with this. But it's a really easy add-in. It'll just be one more of these green pathways on the way down. We'll talk about that in a minute. But otherwise, this works identically to the other version that we saw. The other one just had a bunch more detail work, making it look nicer. Ultimately, what this is it uses a book that has 15 pages, has to be 15 pages, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using a comparator to read the signal strength out of the book and send that signal strength to the rest of the circuit. So signal strength can go up to 15. So we're going to have signal strengths of 1 through 15, depending on what page we're on. So page 1 has a signal strength of 1, page 2 has a signal strength of 2, and so on, all the way up through the book, signal strength of 7, 8, 9, and so on. You get it. So that's going to be what's going on over here. So right now, this was sending a signal strength of 6. So as it sends the signal along, If you need to extend this farther, you can keep adding more comparators, and comparators will just compare the signal behind it and output that same signal out the front, unless they are in subtraction mode. So right now this is outputting a signal of, like I said, 6. So that means as it comes along, we're going, here's signal strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and at 7, the circuit is dead. Now, this up here is dead as well because of how the red coder works here. This red coder circuit I actually borrowed from another YouTuber. I don't remember his name. I will link his video that I borrowed this from in the notes. But I noticed the red coders that he and other people were using weren't working properly in the 1.16 update. So with a little bit of toying around, I found out that this setup for the red coder that has a line of redstone, 15 long, into a line of repeaters, also 15 long. Up above that is a set of 2 half slabs with a line of redstone, a line of repeaters, all going into these pistons. And then underneath, having a row of torches on the bottom side. This will actually allow these redstone pistons to fire because the signal is being fed in from 2 different spots into this piston. So when the circuit is active, the piston will actually detract instead, which is good. That's what we want, because ultimately our goal here is we need to output a signal for whatever thing we are on. So right now on slot number 6, we are currently exporting or outputting 2 signals. We definitely need nether wart, and if you notice, that is not controlled by this comparator circuit right here. It's not wired in, it's its own circuit, which is good. But it is outputting signal 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for spider eye. This pink circuit is all of our outputs from the blue circuit. They are all redstone torches, and they are all currently, they start as on, but they will turn off when we send a signal from these cauldrons. So again, if I were to go and drop this to a different page, like let's go to page 10. So now we're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's number 10 is now active, and also the nether wart is active. Like I said, that nether wart will stay active for all of them except for fermented spider eye, which is potions of harm, I believe, which do not need nether wart to be brewed. So if we go to page 13 of the potion manual and take a look, you'll notice nether wart is no longer active and fermented spider eye is. These last 2 here, numbers 14 and 15, are basically dummy setups. They don't actually do anything. I built them in just to have them, but ultimately what this comes down to is, like, if Minecraft eventually adds more brewing components, you could have up to 3 more slots added in. You'd have 2 down here, number 14 and 15, and you would have a slot at number 1. You'd have to move, like, the nether wart component, the orange circuit, a slot down this way over here instead, and then you could feed into the number 1 slot here as well. So you could have up to 15 outputs in this. But what's going on here is these redstone torches are all keeping these hoppers locked. The hoppers in Minecraft stay locked so long as they have a redstone signal into them. So you'll see that this hopper has a redstone signal in, it's going to stay locked. It will not draw any of the components from the chest up above into the hopper. This one with the torch turned off should start drawing things in if there was no redstone signal, but you'll notice it is also not taking any of these components. That is because these hoppers are all double controlled, meaning they have an input from this pink circuit and they have an input from this yellow circuit. To activate this hopper, both of those redstone signals need to be turned off. This is kind of a double check to make sure that that hopper will not start pulling things through until it's absolutely supposed to. And the first part is simply setting up which of these components is going to be pulled. So right now, the only thing going to be pulled is this fermented spider eye when the yellow circuit turns off. The other input we have here is all of these add-ons. So the redstone dust, glowstone dust, gunpowder, dragon's breath. And if you want to add fermented spider eye, you would actually have to add that in between glowstone and gunpowder. And the reason for that is if you look at the order of potion brewing and the potion brewing chart, you have to add certain items in certain order. So like these add-ons have to be in this order, and if you're going to do fermented spider eye, it has to go between glowstone and gunpowder, just due to what order you have to brew things in. Similarly, Dragon's Breath can only be brewed after you have a splash potion, which is your gunpowder. So the order of these matters. The order here doesn't really matter. The only thing that does matter is that netherwort has to be the first thing in your chain, because that always has to be brewed first. The rest do not matter, though I have put fermented spider eye last, and if they add more, I will move this down as well, so it stays last, just because of how my orange circuit works, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. So these green circuits, when you turn these on, all they are doing is they are sending a signal out the back, either through a repeater or through a redstone channel, and they are sending all the way along until they get to these setups that are very similar to the red coders. The only difference is where the red coder has these half slabs up top to make sure that we're going to get an active signal up or down as necessary. These are controlled by levers, so it really doesn't matter. All they need is the one repeater into a block with a torch, and that's going to control the piston up top. They do have the comparator that's going to read whether or not we have our thing active, and that will turn off the torch, partially unlocking the appropriate hopper that it's related to. Notice this hopper is not completely unlocked because we need to unlock the yellow circuit as well. So that's the selection circuits. We have the blue-red coder circuit and the green add-ons circuit. The orange circuit, what I've done here to make sure that it only activates or deactivates when number 13, or the spider eye, the fermented spider eye, is turned on, is I have come out of this torch signal on the bottom. It is running a redstone dust pathway all the way along to a couple of torches. We got this tower of torches leading up, and it's going into the same red coder, similar to the red coder style up here, to turn this on or off depending on what's active. It has the same comparator, same output, and so on as everything else. It's just tied to this particular part of the circuit instead of being tied to the red coder. So that's all of our item selection. The next part of the circuit we need to talk about is the on-off switch, and that's going to be our pink circuit right here. Now, this auto brewer will work with a button instead of a lever. A button will just mean that single batches of the potion will brew, so you only get 3 potions at a time with a button for every button push. With the lever setup, you will actually allow this machine to continue brewing whatever potion you want to brew until you turn it off, until it runs out of water bottles, or until these potion bins are full. So right now my potion bins are mostly empty, so we should be good there. Water bottles are pretty full, so we should be good there. The only thing that's keeping this from running right now is I haven't turned it on. So if you turn this on, this pink circuit is basically the locking circuit. It is what is controlling turning on or off the whole thing. And if this channel is ever turned on right here, what's going to happen is it is all controlling this one singular torch over on the side. Whenever this torch is unlit, the circuit will not start brewing. So if you notice, there's actually 2 other circuits feeding into this. I've got the red circuit here feeding into the pink one, and I've got this blue circuit feeding into the pink one. And this circuitry all over on this side is all of the safety checks and balances to make sure that things are where they need to be, if there's enough water bottles, if our potion bin isn't too full, things like that. So we'll talk about all that in just a minute. Right now, let's talk about what happens when I turn that lever on. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a lever, and we're going to just turn the circuit on right here. I think I can do this. Let's see. So when I turn this on, this should send a signal to turn this torch on and turn the rest of the system on. So here we go. Oh, nope, I needed to be a little bit farther forward. Looks like I needed to be out here. All right, so let's try that again. Can I do it here? Hey, there it goes. So that turned this signal on. It sent a signal all the way down into this turquoise system, which is a timing circuit. which after the timer runs, I don't know if you saw, but the torches all blipped off. They turned off for a 2-tick window. Redstone torches will not accept any redstone input that is slower than 2 ticks or faster than 2 ticks. So if you try and give them a 1-tick input, they won't do anything. So it has to be a 2-tick signal. When these torches all turn off, they will only unlock the hoppers that have both torches turned off. So right now, the fermented spider eye and the glowstone dust should have been the only things making their way over to this set of hoppers. And in here, and you can see it's already done the potion of weakness, which is cool. And now we've got glowstone dust. Sadly, glowstone dust doesn't actually do anything, so we'll take that out. Let's try brewing a potion that will actually do something. Let's do potion 6. What's that? Let's do potion 4. I think that's potion of strength, if it's blaze powder. But let's make it a splash potion. So I'm gonna turn this on, which sent a signal down my pink circuit. This timing circuit is going to tick across. It's counting down currently. It blinks, which is going to blink the torches. And now when I come over here, in my bottommost hopper, there's my blaze powder. And my potion is already brewing with netherwort, so it's set and ready to go. And again, it will just continue acting until it runs out of ingredients and the potions are done. So it's just going to keep brewing, which is really cool. So there goes the netherwort. Blaze powder falls in, and it's going to start brewing that. Awesome. So let's talk about this timing circuit then for a minute. I borrowed this timing circuit from another YouTuber, like I said, and I will put his description or his link down in the description because I do not remember who it was off the top of my head. But again, I've been searching around to see who else has been making these systems. But basically what this is doing is this is going to send a signal around this timer and eventually output out this repeater and into this yellow circuit. To time this, what it is a hopper-dropper system that when it receives a signal, the dropper will put one item from the dropper into the hopper, and that will set the timer off. And the timer will go and go and go until it outputs. If you leave the lever on, eventually that system will blip again, and it will reset the timer and just keep going, and it will keep brewing over and over until, again, it runs out of potion bottles, until it runs out of space, and so on. But I found, again, anytime you are activating torches with your repeaters, remember you need to have it at that 2-tick mark. But that's going to go travel upwards into this yellow circuit, which is a nice little monostable circuit. As soon as it gets a signal, it's going to send a, again, 2-tick pulse into the system, which will end up shutting off every single one of these torches all the way along. So got to make sure that is your 2-tick pulse for all of these. That's basically the circuit, the simple part of it. So you've got your selector, you've got your secondary selector, you have your on-off control, you have your timer circuit, and you have your, ultimately your, I guess your primer circuit. The rest of these circuits, the red, the mustard, the purple, the blue, these ones are all keeping track of the rest of the machinery as kind of like fail-safes to see what's going on. So for instance, let's take a look at this red circuit first. If you notice, this red circuit is feeding down and into the pink one. It is directly connected to the pink one. And that is because the red circuit is checking two different things. The red circuit is checking this chest right back here. This chest is the output chest. So I was just poking this one right here. Here's our output chest. There's our red dot, our red cloth. It's checking this chest right here. If that chest ever gets full, our comparator is going to recognize it, and it's going to send a signal into this repeater, and it will turn on our lamp that says, hey, the potion chest is full, and it will turn on this signal, turn on our red pathway, and it will lock down the pink circuit. It will not allow the pink circuit to brew. Similarly, this mustard colored circuit right here is checking our water bottles. It's checking to see if this chest ever goes empty. Now, even though this is not the last chest in line, there are still 10 other water bottles that I could use. This is still a good place for it to be. But it is going to check and see, is this chest empty? If it is empty, this comparator will turn off, which will turn on this redstone torch, and again, turn on the red circuit, which locks the pink circuit. So that's our mustard colored circuit, is keeping tabs of that. The other thing it's going to do is send a signal up here to the lamp that will tell us that the water bottles are empty. You do have to keep in mind, though, that if you put these two signals side by side, they will connect unless you block that connection off. So that's that pathway. The other one that we need to consider here is the blue pathway. This pathway is a little tricky. There's two different parts I got to show you. Here's the one over on this side here. You can see we've got a comparator that is checking this dropper, or excuse me, this hopper, which is right above the brewing stand. What this is looking for is if there is ever an item in this hopper, this comparator will turn on. It will send a signal through, turning the torch off, which will turn off this repeater set to full ticks, which will turn on this circuit and loop back down and through all the way through this bottom circuit and into this bottom dropper. Effectively, what it's doing is it's saying, okay, if there's ever an item in this hopper, then Mr. Hopper down here, you will not activate. You're not going to pull any potions out of the brewing stand. But as soon as this is out of items up here, then it will go through a timing circuit and allow this hopper to pull potions out. Now, key things here, you do have to have this repeater set at full ticks to make sure it gives it enough time. Additionally, to make sure that the circuit actually flows down on the bottom here, all this redstone needs to be connected. So you have to use a half slab here with a redstone repeater, again, set to full ticks all the way through. Additionally, on this blue circuit on this side, there is one more comparator checking a hopper over here. We'll talk about that in a minute. And there is one more torch hidden all the way down here at the bottom, making sure that this block stays receiving power so the circuit's going to work on the way through. But that's what the blue circuit does. This purple circuit over here is our other timing mechanism. So you notice there's another dropper hopper timer over here with one item in it. It is being fed power from the blue circuit right here, that when this block gets powered, it's going to allow the hopper to, the dropper to move an item from inside of it into the hopper, which will set off this timing circuit here, which will then set off this timing circuit here, this double hopper timing circuit. This double hopper timing circuit, this is like the most important part for the timing mechanism. There are 52 items in this rightmost hopper. When those 52 items eventually end up in the leftmost hopper, that's what starts the timer. And you'll notice it set this comparator off, it's going to set this timer off, and so on. But 52 items is the exact amount of items it takes for one instance of materials to go through the potion brewer. So this timer is basically set off as soon as items drop out of this hopper. Right here, as soon as the last item comes out of this, the blue circuit ticks, and it's going to set off this timing mechanism, timing down to when this is empty again. And then the blue circuit will do another check, see if there's anything left in the hoppers, and if there's not, it'll dump them. If there is, it'll brew the next one, it'll turn the timer back on again, and so on. So this purple circuit is the timing mechanism, and you need 52 items in there to time it appropriately. But overall, that's the circuit. It's pretty straightforward. It works pretty well. I haven't had problems with it yet. The only downfalls that it has, I currently have nothing in here that will tell you when the blaze powder hopper is empty. If I had rerouted this pink circuit a little bit better, I could probably fit a comparator, say like right off the back here, or like right in here, and then feed the circuit out this way into this wide open area. I might do that in the future, actually, because that's a good idea. I was hoping I could get one. I just hadn't built one yet. But I also figured, you know, 5 stacks of blaze powder plus whatever blaze powders in the brewing stand should be enough for now. But I'll probably end that, or put that in the end later on, and that will also feed into this pink circuit. The other thing that this does not do currently is it does not tell you how full your storage system is. again, I assumed that, you know, an entire chest full of items, or you could even do a double chest if you know, made it come out the side. A double chest full of items should be more than enough potion ingredients to last you for forever. That I didn't think it was a big enough problem. You could also increase the height of, like, add some more hoppers on top, going up farther, put the chest up a little higher, and then have another circuit that's going to, you know, allow the hoppers to activate, and maybe put a comparator out the side of the chests up higher. Again, I haven't done it, but it seems like it's something that's doable. I just didn't see a need for it just yet. So overall, that's the circuit. Again, we got the red coder. We got the green potion selects here for what add-ons you want to add. Ultimately, everything is going to come out the brewer into these double chests and eventually fill all of this up. But that's the circuit. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something from it. And I don't need to subscribe if you don't want to. I don't know how I'm going to put any more videos out anytime soon. Again, the only reason I made this is because I saw that so many other people had either old versions of potion brewers, auto potion brewers, that either weren't working or weren't working how I wanted them to. So this is an auto potion brewer that uses the Lectern and will continue brewing until you turn things off. So yeah, that's what I got.